Good evening, Gills fans. Welcome back to Gills in the Blood TV. It is time for our latest Monday review episode, and this week I am looking back at the weekend defeat at the hands of promotion chasing Barnsley. Very humbling, very sobering 4-1 defeat at the weekend. Pretty much everything that could go wrong did go wrong, from conceding after 17 seconds to getting battered to seeing our captain go off with a suspected ankle injury near the end. So not the greatest of afternoons. And yeah, as I've already said, we conceded after 17 seconds. It was the first of 4 that we did let in, and it's schoolboy defending on the whole for most of them, unfortunately. The first goal, it looks like the ball has gone out of play and the linesman hasn't flagged, but regardless of that, Conor Ogilvie sadly doesn't deal with it properly, allows the bloke to outmuscle him. Then we allow the cross to come in too easily. Then we allow a free shot. Then we don't pick up Kiefer Moore off the rebound, and he has a tap in, and we're 1-0 down inside 20 seconds, which is absolutely catastrophic. It means we're chasing the game from a very early stage. But then to compound that, 15-20 minutes later, we go 2-0 down, and this is after Thomas Holy's made about 2 or 3 good saves and they've hit the crossbar. So, and this one's another catastrophe. Gabriel Zakuani and Barry Fuller get sucked to the middle of the 6-yard box and end up marking each other as the ball comes in from their left wing, our right back area. Conor Ogilvie gets left with 2 or 3 at the back post, and obviously can't manage to pick them all up, and Cauley Woodrow heads it back over Thomas Holy and into the far corner. And in fairness to Thomas, he had no chance, and if it weren't for him, it could have probably been 4 or 5 at half time. Third goal, another disaster. Looks like Max Amar loses his man. He runs near post. I think then he beats Barry Fuller to the header and flicks it to the far post. And we decide that we're not going to pick Woodrow up despite him already scoring. And then goal number 4, after we've got 1 back through Elliot List, we switch off again to a short free kick. Shot cross comes in. Thomas Holy, who'd had a decent game until that point, unfortunately spills it when he should deal with it better, and then it looks like on the video highlights it's Graham Burke who's decided to let the lad Brown run off of him, and he taps it into the roof of the net for 4. And by then I think the ground was emptying out. There weren't many in there to start with already, and it was a really poor showing from us, especially defensively, unfortunately. And I remember saying to Boz coming out the ground, it's the first time that I've started to think that this is becoming a little bit of a concern and a worry. And I said, I think the word I used was tedious. It's becoming a little bit boring talking about the same mistakes and the same issues every single week. And the trouble is now we can't put in one good performance every so many games, because it's a case at the moment of 1 step forward and about 3 or 4 back with us. We tend to lack physicality in the middle of the park, especially. I was very pleased with the transfer window, don't get me wrong, but it seems that we may have missed a trick. We thought that maybe the lad Leonardo da Silva Lopez coming in might be the answer to our problems in terms of a holding midfielder, but it doesn't look that is his role. So again, we seem light in that area. Barnsley played through us so many times, the old phrase, like a knife through butter. It was so easy for us. We tried to go 4-4-2 for a period, and it left just Josh Reese and Mark Byrne hopelessly exposed in the middle of the park, and with the quality that they possess in Woodrow and Kiefer Moore and I forgot the other one, Alex Mowat and other people like that. It's going to be hard, and we know that Barnsley are a better side than us. Let's not pretend otherwise. They've got a lot of players that do well in the Championship, and they've let the quality of Lloyd Isgrove and George Moncur leave the squad in the January transfer window, so it shows how strong they are. But worryingly for us is a stat that I'm going to talk about now. So I'm going to put a list of teams up on the screen now. So that sequence that you've just seen, that is Walsall, Barnsley, Rochdale, Southend, Plymouth Argyle, Luton, Wickham, Charlton, Doncaster, Southend, Walsall and Barnsley have all got something in common this season when they play us. Anyone? We have allowed all of them teams in the league to go 2-0 up this season against us. So that is 12 times in total. Of those 12 games, obviously there's 36 points available. 12 times 3, simple maths and all that. We've earned 1 point from them games when we've gone 2-0 down, and that was against Wickham in the middle of December when goals from Josh Parker and Tom Eve salvaged a point. other than that, it is 11 defeats. It speaks for itself. It's not rocket science to see where the problem lies. And at home, we've done it 6 times. So 6 times at home and 6 times away. We have gone 2-0 down, chasing games. So to break it down a little bit further, that's 1 point from 18 in these games at home and 0 from 18 away. It's going to spell trouble. Like I've already said, it's the same things happening, the same errors, the same basic mistakes that we keep doing, and it's got to change, and it's got to change quick, because I come out the ground and spoke to Boz and a couple of others at the weekend, and people said to me as we was leaving and walking out from the Rainham end and going, "Oh, he's got to go, Steve Lovell." And I said, well, who comes in and does a better job with this set of players? But it's very concerning, and there has been a lot of talk about the gaffer again over the last couple of days in terms of is he still the right man for the job, and is he still the man to lead us out of trouble and take us forward, relatively speaking, whatever that may be. Because at the moment, I think 20th would be a decent finish, because it's getting to the point again where there's a lot of fans being vocal on social media in terms of just wanting the campaign to end, and it's sad that it's like that. But talking about Steve Lovell, coming up on your screen now is a quote from him. "It's not my fault. I am not taking the blame. I'm not out there. We put in place what we have to do and work on what we have got." That was Mr. Lovell's reaction to the 4-1 defeat, distancing himself from the blame again. Which I find a little bit concerning. I could understand his point that if he is fed up and angry and frustrated and disillusioned with the fact that he's trained the boys all week to implement certain systems and certain actions and they've not done it, and I'm sure he's correct in that he can't legislate for us conceding after 17 seconds, because then game plans do go out the window. But I don't think you can just say it's nothing to do with you, Steve. You are the manager at the end of the day, the head coach, or whatever you want to be called, and we all know in this game that the buck stops with the manager ultimately, and we're in the bottom 4 now. So we're definitely entrenched in a battle against the drop, which is a real shame, because back at the beginning of the season I thought the signings were positive and I had us down to finish mid-table, which would have been lovely. But we don't do things easily at Gills, and it looks like it's going to be another winter and spring of toil and trouble and trying to stay above that dreaded line and keeping our heads above the proverbial water. He then went on to say, they might be young, but they have to grow up in terms of football. They have to grow into men. This is a men's game. Sometimes they have to take on themselves and be responsible for themselves. A little confused by that comment, considering that 5 or 6 of our starting 11 are 27 years and older. Barry Fuller 34 and Gabriel Zaquani 32 in the back 4. Thomas Holy's 27 in goal. I know he's relatively inexperienced in this country, but he's still 27. Max Amar's 27, Tom Eves is 27, and Mark Burns 30. So that's 6 players. So that's over 50% of our starting 11 are what I would class as experience. So I don't understand this comment about they're all kids and they're young and they've got to learn. Yes, they've got to learn, but it's not about being young. It's just about being better and doing your jobs better, surely, at the moment. The biggest concern for me at the moment in terms of what Steve Lovell keeps coming out and saying after defeats is that he seems to be going down the same route as Justin Edinburgh at the end of his reign and Adrian Pennock at the end of his reign. And I think he's trying to say what he thinks we want to hear, but it's coming across as a bit disillusioned and a little bit odd and a little bit desperate and a little bit scared of the sack, maybe, because he'll come out and be positive and forthright and upbeat all the time, and I wouldn't expect anything less. But Steve Lovell's an intelligent man, I'm sure, and he's not stupid, and he's going to realise that ultimately results keep him in a job. And now that we've sunk into the bottom 4, is there a chance that Mr. Scally's having a look? Perhaps. My own personal opinion is that all the time we're in touch at the bottom, the trigger won't get pulled. But obviously, if we start to become cut off, and then Mr. Scally may panic slightly, then it might be a case that Steve Lovell does go. But I don't know what the answer is. But all I know is that I'm quite bored and I'm quite fed up and upset, and well, you know, in terms of this cycle that we keep having, because we got promoted into League One in 2012-13. Martin Allen was the man that led us to the title that season, that wonderful season in League Two. But since then, there's only been one full campaign that we've managed to get through, which was 2015-16, when we've not sacked a manager. That tells its own story. Martin Allen, Championship manager, only lasted until October of 2013-14 before he was fired. So it meant he was in the job for 15 months, give or take. Peter Taylor then came back to replace him in the October of 2013, and he lasted until, I think it was New Year's Eve 2014. So the middle of the 2014-15 campaign, so he lasted 14 months. We then had the Gang of Four before Justin Edinburgh arrived, February 2015. He lasted the longest of our recent gaffers. He was there for 23 months up until January 2017 when he was sacked. He was then replaced by Adrian Pennock, who's lasted the least out of all of them. He lasted only 8 months, so that's 60 months. 4 managers, 15 months average reign. Steve Lovell's been there now since October 2017, so he's outstayed that average by a couple of months, I think. So is he on borrowed time? Is he on thin ice? I don't know. Obviously, we don't know what the chairman's thinking. I've given my thoughts on it. Like I say, I think all the time we're in touch and there's a chance that we can get out of it. He'll probably stay, and then we'll reevaluate at the end of the season. But I think if we get hammered at home at Scunthorpe on Saturday, I think things may change. And at the same time, if we lose the next few, because obviously we go to Sunderland next Tuesday as well, which is going to be tricky, and we've got big games coming up away, Wickham and Luton in the next few weeks. They're going to be hard against teams that are in form and in the top half of the table. So it is a tricky one. How long do you leave it if you are going to fire him? But at the same time, is it going to be beneficial in the fact that we've just given Steve Lovell a transfer window and allowed him to bring 5 new players in? So anyone coming in won't get a pre-season, won't get long to stamp their own authority on it, going to have to learn about the squad on the job. So it is a tricky one, but only time will tell. And obviously the best thing for us and all concerned, chairman, manager, directors, coaches, fans, players, is that those boys go out there Saturday and put on a show and earn us 3 points, and then it keeps the Wolves away from the door, so to speak, for a little bit longer at least. But it's not fun at the moment. I'm not going to dress it up and sugarcoat it as anything other than that. It wasn't fun Saturday. We took a hiding, and in fairness to Barnsley, 4-1 probably flattered us because, like I said, they've hit the bar. Thomas Ole's made 3 or 4 really good stops. They've had a couple cleared off the line. It could have been 6-7, and you know. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. We shall return on Thursday with a match preview for that massive game against Scunthorpe at the bottom of League One. Please keep doing all the usual. Thanks to all the Barnsley fans who have given us feedback on YouTube and on Twitter regarding the vlog that you've enjoyed. I'm sure you've enjoyed it much more than us. Premier League live promotion contenders, Barnsley for me, definitely in the top 3 sides that I've seen us face this season, along with Luton Town and Sunderland. Please keep commenting down below on YouTube. Please keep checking us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, liking, retweeting, sharing, and all the stuff that you continue to do and be brilliant. And until next time, up the Gills.